Sit down. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? We got our suspects with us tonight. We have Rav. How you doing tonight, buddy?
You're muted,
How's it
Rav.
going?
Good, good. You got the TV up.
I'm turning it down for you guys.
Aw, that's so nice. Thank you.
He must be in his luxury suite office there, overlooking Baltimore there. Jeremy, how are you tonight, sir? I didn't know you were taking a drink. My bad.
Yeah. Hey, I'm living the dream. Another day this side of the sod and upright. Why complain?
I was pulling
Dylan?
for you, Jeremy. I already know what you guys were talking about there. I was pulling for you, brother.
I know. It sucks.
Dylan, how are you?
Good. And by the way, Jeremy, I wish you Lions had beaten the Commanders because Philly Detroit should have been the NFC Championship game, but that's a story for another day.
You are aware that Redskins are the Commanders are the only team in the playoffs to win on the road?
What?
That is absolutely insane. I've never seen that happen.
Not with a rookie QB.
By the way,
Or
do you
Jeremy?
RxJ, that's one of my guys. How you doing, RxJ? Good to see you, brother. James Burgess. The Lions were the only hope to beat the Chiefs. Yeah, probably.
Here's one for Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett may get a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's not going to piss them off. It's not going to piss them off. It is going to piss you off, isn't it, Adam?
No, it's going to be in the kick in the face of Tomlin for letting go a quarterback that can be on a. But
You did hear what
I know he
happened.
didn't do much. But he's still playing on that team. And this is where I got into an argument this week. Football is a team game.
Right.
It's not an I game.
Right.
You're all part of it. Unless you're Mike Tomlin and it's I did the 500 or better record.
Well, that's almost as good as my favorite trivia question. Who's the only rookie quarterback to get a Super Bowl ring who won a national championship ring as a part of a national championship team his senior year? You got to go way back for this one.
Listen, they're not going to change their name, and I'm trying to think for Jeremy's question here. Yeah, the pieces of mediocrity.
Yeah, it was a bunch of pieces. No, there's only been one that's done it, but his dad won a Super Bowl. Yeah.
Was this a question last week?
I think it was a question 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think my dad brought it up when he got into
Broski just asked, "What's the question?"
Who's the only rookie quarterback who got a Super Bowl ring, not as a starter, who was a national championship ring getter his senior year?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
Way back before me.
where did he go to college?
Well, if I say that, you'll know. So I'll just give you the answer. It's Michigan's Brian Greasy, who was the backup to John Elway.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
He's the only QB in NCAA and NFL history to do that.
Really?
Third string on that Denver team that won in.
And he actually took the last snap of the game, if you remember right, because the second string quarterback got hurt in the divisional game when Elway went down for a second.
Yeah, that's when everybody thought Mike Shanahan was a genius. He was going to go ahead. Elway was going to retire, and he was going to turn Brian Greasy into the next LOA, and they were going to keep rolling. That didn't happen.
Derp, derp, derp.
Well, then Terrell Davis flew on his knee.
That didn't
And
help either.
he's currently the QB coach for the 49ers.
Yeah, he's on Monday Night
Wait a
Football.
minute,
for
wait
a
a
while.
minute, wait a minute, James. John Elway is not better than Tony Hawk. I don't know about you. Tony Hawk's the GOAT of skateboarding.
You can say what
I don't know. Oh, skateboarding maybe, but dude, did anyone see that kid? He hit that 2360 or whatever it was
At the X Games,
at
21
the X Games.
Yep, Elway's face is on the Broncos helmet because he does look like a horse. You're right. Broski Bear.
I thought that was Shannon
King
Sharp.
said, though, what do I think about losing AG? I think it hurts, but yet I don't think it's that bad because Calvin Shepard was brought in the 2022-23 season after the first year, and he's been learning behind AG and been the assistant DC that time. So I think he'll be fine stepping in. We may see a little bit more out of our defense because he may have some ideas on how to get more out of them. And maybe he'll let the defensive backs coach actually develop some defensive backs. Because the one thing I've said, how do you give up so many yards in the passing game when you were a former Pro Bowl and All-Pro cornerback as a player and not have any corner improve from one year to the next? If he'd have been a safety and he improved, because the safeties improved, I'd have been different. But I'm talking about cornerbacks alone.
I don't know how hands-on a D coordinator is in that day-to-day. I honestly don't think nowadays they're that hands-on. And I understand your point because he's a corner. You're supposed to know better. But I honestly don't know how much better. I'm not sure they didn't get better, though, this year at corner.
We were still 27th in passing yards per game.
But you were worse than that last year.
Not by much. It was 28 last year. The actual yards per game was less.
I didn't understand why the Jets hired another defensive-minded guy.
I do know why they hired AG. They drafted
Well, I mean, I know he was a Jet. I get it. I get all
was
that.
Drafted by the Jets, so this is a dream job for him. People could say the Saints was the dream job, but he took the interview that Wednesday morning and he went down there while I was live that morning. And I know as soon as he walked in that front office and looked at the cap hell they'll be in the next 5 years, and he's like, "Hey, Woody, I'll take that job."
Saints, Saints is a terrible job. They've been in that for 7-8 years. The cap issue.
Honestly, I think I'd rather be in New Orleans than be in the Jets. I mean, the Jets right now,
they're 5 years away from being able to sign relevant free agents. That's what they are. You know what they're able to do? They're able to restructure people, clear enough cap to get their rookies, and maybe sign a bunch of mid-level back-end practice squad guys. And they'll be a middling team because of it. Because until they actually strip that team down like the Lions did in 2021, eat all that dead cap they can in 1 year and then get more money, they're not going to do anything.
Are they going to have Aaron Rodgers, you think?
Who?
The Jets.
I don't know. I know he met with them. I don't know what has gone on with that. I know that he's talking to Tanner Engstrom, our tight ends coach and passing game coordinator. He's going there for an interview for the OC job. I don't know how good that'll work, but it worked out pretty well with us promoting Ben Johnson to be our coordinator. So maybe he'll be a good coordinator because he learned from under Ben Johnson. I do like the fact that we signed somebody who was an assistant for a year with the Lions in 2022. And then he went on and developed his own passing game, which looks totally different than what the Lions does, but it still looks like something that Jared Goff can do. And now he's our OC, so now we got a different playbook to look at instead of Ben Johnson knowing every single play under the sun in our playbook as a rival head coach.
Honestly, Jeremy, I know it might be crazy, but is Jared Goff the reason why the Detroit Lions didn't win that playoff game? Because seemingly, I don't know what it was, but
The
in
defense
a
gave
couple big
45 points.
primetime games this year, the Lions gave it away 10 times. That's not good enough.
Hey, and you know
Yeah,
what?
but remember they turned it over 5 times in one game and won, and then
Yeah,
one game
exactly.
threw 5
You know-
touchdowns and lost.
Right. You know, you can say that Goff is this and Goff is that, but you know what he's proven to be? Good enough for Detroit to win games.
Yeah, but Jared Goff's never going to win a Super Bowl, especially not with the
Why?
guys in the league.
Wait. Now, if that team was healthy on the defensive side of the ball, do you think that game looks like that? Do we give up 45 points?
I don't know. You all couldn't beat Lamar Jackson last season.
That was the season before with a different roster. We changed over the entire secondary, but our front seven was so decimated, and then the secondary was decimated at the same time in this game. I'm saying if Carlton Davis didn't have a broken jaw, Amik Robertson doesn't break his arm. Aiden Hutchinson's on the other side of Eric Smith instead of the Legion of Boom. I don't know who the fuck was opposite Zadarius Smith. I knew who Zadarius Smith was. I know who DJ Reader was. Everybody else was like, who are they? Never seen them before.
I thought you guys did the best you could with what you had.
Exactly. And that's a testament to the coaching and to the fact that Brad Holmes got good players off of other people's practice squad that everybody thought was dog shit. Because what we did was we didn't make them change to our scheme. We came in and said, hey, do what you can do to help us because that's what we need you to do. Fill this position, do your job.
And even Lamar needed a 66-yard field goal in that game from the GOAT, Justin Tucker.
That shouldn't have happened.
I mean, that was even that wasn't like decisive at all. That was crazy. Like, you know.
Yeah, that was a lot closer game. I mean, that was a lot closer game than what Dylan just shouted out there.
No, I'm mentioning last year's game in Baltimore, which wasn't even a game.
Oh, you're talking about a more recent game. Oh, okay.
He's talking about the actual year we won our division the first time. I know what he's talking about. He's talking about the game where they beat us by 30-something to 10 or 14 or whatever it was. Right? The 20-point beat down.
Hey, you hung 52 on my team, so you can talk whatever you want about.
I was going to say, I don't know why you're talking shit because I hung 50 on you and 50 on the Titans in back-to-back weeks. I think we scored more than some teams scored all season, including.
I do think Goff can win a Super in the NFC. I think in the NFC it's definitely winnable. I think if Hurts can win the game, then it's definitely doable. But if Hurts, Goff, the tier of quarterbacks, I think Jaden Daniels might be the best one right now in the whole NFC as far as quarterbacks. I don't think there is one better than Jaden Daniels right now.
Stafford?
No. How could you say Stafford's better? He couldn't win in Detroit when he got there, and he couldn't win in Philly.
I don't know about you. The LA Ram game looked close. I mean, if not for Jalen Carter stacking Stafford on third down, I think LA wins that game, and then they beat the Commanders on Sunday.
And if Grandma would have had a dick, she'd have been Grandpa.
You can always look at the woulda, coulda, woulda, but it didn't happen.
You understand what I'm saying, right? If Grandma would have had a dick, she'd have been Grandpa.
What the heck is going on?
Barnes might be a free agent. Iffy might be a free agent. We got to look at them. They're fourth-year guys. Look at King If Matt Stafford was so damn good, how come he couldn't win a playoff game the 3 times he went for Detroit? Including one year where he had one of the best defenses in NFL history.
I don't know.
Yes, your Stafford's got a Super Bowl win, Jeremy.
I mean, that's
all. That's all there is to it. I mean, you can't.
I get it. I know. I'm talking about I love the fact he went to a team that was built for Goff. And mid-season, they had to add 3 key components to that roster. Don't forget, if it wasn't for OBJ, Von Miller, and Leonard Floyd, they don't get to that Super Bowl. So it wasn't Stafford that got them there. Because the reason why they had to add those players, because Stafford was throwing so many pick sixes, they damn near lost 6 games in a row.
Stafford is a throwback. He's not God. He's a throwback to the old days of a quarterback. He throws the ball downfield more than any quarterback in the league now. Everybody now is dink dunk, 3 yards, cloud of dust, everything. This guy throws the ball downfield a lot, and I think that's why you see more picks.
That's okay. And you also see more picks because guess what Goff was doing more this year? He had the second highest completion percentage on passes over 25 yards this season. You know who was first? Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson. In air yards. I'm talking in air yards.
I mean, you're not going to get me to argue that Lamar is not the best downfield passer, but I'm just saying the way he plays is different. That's why he's going to get more picks.
Yeah, he's a gun.
Josh Allen was doing that for the longest. He kind of stopped more this year. You could almost argue that's why they lost, because he was more conservative. But they throw the ball downfield. Guys that throw downfield, you're going to get more picks.
I mean, we all watched the AFC Championship game. I mean, whether or not honestly, I think everybody's sick and tired of the Chiefs win AFC titles. I mean, are Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid going to break every one of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick's Super Bowl records?
I just want to check something real quick. I think I'm right, but I wanted before I spout off.
I think they have a chance.
I'm referencing like more with Mahomes now, Michael Jordan, more and more. It's the Ravens and the Bills did everything they could to get over Brady, to get over Mahomes, and you still came up short. Even with all the information, everything they did in the offseason, all that stuff, and you still came in second. Maybe it's just that hard to beat Mahomes. I mean, as sad as it is. I mean, I think if he can win a third straight Super Bowl, we're entering that territory. That's never, ever been done.
You know what's crazy about Goff? And we hear how trash he was in LA after that Super Bowl run year, right? You know, he had only 50 yards less the next season. He had 4,688 yards, 32 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and a 101.1 QBR in the Super Bowl year. The next year, he had 4,638, 22 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions. But if you go back and watch those interceptions, 11 of them bounced off of receivers' hands or was tipped. So they weren't all the typical, oh my God, he sucks type of throws. Then you go to the next year, 20 touchdowns, 13, 39, 52. That's almost 4,000 yards right there. I don't get, and a 90 QBR. Those are not bad passer rating numbers. Do you know what the difference is between 2019 and 2020? They didn't have a run game. They did not have a run game. 2021, he comes to Detroit. He didn't have a run game. He had DeAndre Swift and Kerryon Johnson. Jesus Christ.
Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly. And he threw for 3,245 yards, but he did throw for 19 touchdowns and only 8 picks and a 91.5 QBR. The next year, we lost, what was it, 1-7 through our first 8 games? Isn't that what it was? 4,438 yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 picks, and a 99.3. The next year, when we win the division, 45-75, 30 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and a 97.9. And then all of a sudden they said, oh, he's never going to top that year. Guess what he did this year? 4,629 yards, 37 touchdowns, and the same number of picks at 12 for a 111.8. He got better every year here. And that's with changing midseason in one season. And then not even having Ben Johnson call the first weeks of 2022.
So do you think he's going to regress, Jeremy?
I don't think he'll regress because our current OC that we just hired was actually a part of the 2022 class that worked with Ben Johnson and Jared Goff to come up with the plays that work with this game. So
But
this
you
guy
just said
already
that
has
there
a
was going to be a new playbook.
there is going to be a new playbook. But what I'm saying, he knows what Goff's strengths are, so he knows what plays to implement that are good for him. Is what I'm getting at. The type of plays he's good at. What is he? One of the best things they talk about it all the time. What is the best thing that Goff does?
Play action.
Play action. He is number 1 or 2 every year in play action passes statistics against the blitz or not. So we still have we have the same 2 running backs, so that shouldn't change. We didn't lose our O-line coach like everybody said we would. He stayed, and he's now the run game coordinator. We have all of our O-line coming back except for maybe Zietler, but they're talking to him about coming back. And we got basically the same defense in place because we promoted a guy on defense. Yeah,
Honestly,
that could happen. That could happen.
Oh man.
honestly, I think Detroit's offense will be good next year, but I don't think Jared Goff will be the same. In fact, if we're not doing prediction right now. I've got Detroit finishing 3rd in the NFC North right now. It's hard for me to see Detroit being that good on offense again.
It's hard seeing them fall off the earth bad, though, with the same team intact, the same core.
I think there's more coming from Green Bay. I expect the Packers to make a couple of big moves in the offseason. And I think I'm telling you, I believe in Kevin O'Connell and J.J. McCarthy.
So you think it's going to be McCarthy, Dylan? I mean, there's no way they're bringing Darnold back. I don't know if that's a good idea.
I believe Sam Darnold will be the next quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts.
I think he ends up with the Raiders. They got the cap room to do it.
You know what? And if Sam Darnold ends up with the Raiders, I think they win more games than the Steelers.
Right. Right now, you got to remember this was only Anthony Richardson's 2nd year, but it was first almost full year starting. I don't think they move on from him in year 3.
I think they do.
I think they don't. I think they're going to roll with him again because of the dead cap on first-round picks in the top 10. The dead cap is massive in the first 3 years. In the 4th year, that's where it clears. That's why you don't see people get moved 9 times out of 10 till year 4.
I don't think he's the guy.
I don't think he's the guy. I'm not saying he's the guy. I think he's softer than melted popcorn butter. I think he has a completion percentage that's barely better than Akili Smith.
Honestly, right now, I think Anthony Richardson needs a kick in the backside because what he did for the Colts this year was absolutely atrocious. And frankly, I mean, for that roster, and I think Indianapolis got a good roster. Everybody needs to win this year. Otherwise, Steichen and Ballard are gone.
I'm actually surprised they didn't get fired this year, to be honest with you. Or Chris Ballard, anyway. I think they didn't want to fire Steichen, so I think they just kind of kept Chris Ballard. But I'm surprised this year they didn't get fired.
They better win next year. Otherwise, everybody's getting fired, especially with Mr. Earthing there.
But I think I was watching a Colts thing today, and I think they're kind of kicking the tires on Derek Carr.
No.
I don't know how much that helps with a vet. I'm kind of thinking if you're going to get fired, you can't send Richardson back out there. I don't, because even like in the draft, I didn't see it. He's got great throwing arm. He's super quick, and he throws about 40%. That ain't going to get it.
Adam's up there throwing shit around.
And it's one thing, and he has a good, I think, offensive coach, Danny Steichen, and even he can't get him to, and then he's tapping himself out of the game, and a lot of other stuff's going on.
Is Steichen a good coach, or is he a good OC? Because I saw he was the coach with Philly, but he hasn't done shit as a head coach either.
But he's a good offensive coach. If you got a quarterback, that'll work. and the fact that he's not doing anything with a good offensive coach, that matters. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Hurricane.
Oh, I was just saying. Looks like we play the NFC or the AFC East next year as our main opponent. I haven't even looked at next year because I just haven't cared yet. But now that we're sitting here bullshitting, and I'm hearing the Steelers aren't going to get more wins than the Raiders, I had to look and investigate for myself. And I think the Steelers, there's a chance where they could be 7-8, 7-11, 7-10.
Well, I saw today the Steelers. They I think Rooney came out and said they're going to bring back only one of the two quarterbacks. He hasn't decided whether it's going to be Fields or Russell. He's going to bring back.
None of them.
Okay.
Hey, Adam, I've got a great idea for you. You may think I'm crazy.
Okay. Okay. We play the AFC North, so you guys play the NFC North there, Adam.
No, we play the AFC East.
You play the NFC North.
Yeah, we got the. What do we have? Yeah, we have the Vikings and Packers at home, and then I guess we're in Detroit and Chicago on the road.
So our home games next year, of course, is the Chicago, Green Bay, and Minnesota, like it is every year, and those three are on the road. But our outside the conference game, Cleveland Browns, Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers are home. We got those three road games plus Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, and Rams on the road.
Oh, wow. Detroit's not winning the division with that schedule next year. No way. No.
Hey, you don't know until after you see free agency. You don't know where they line up in the schedule, and anything can happen any given.
That's why I don't like That's why I don't like making these predictions. But
I'm not making
right now. I think the Steelers situation is going to be a nightmare. I don't know what we're going to have at running back. I have no idea. We draft so damn late in the draft. There's going to be nothing there.
What?
I think
what are you calling me, King?
He said you're high.
You eating those edibles again? You eating those edibles again? You making brownies down there in Florida?
3 years in a row where we've rushed for over 2,000 yards with our running back. Those running backs, the ones that's done it the last 2 years in a row, is still here.
I think Dylan's point, not to put words in his mouth, but it's a tough division. It's a very tough division.
Oh,
I think
100%. I think the NFC North. This is with no schedule out, no free agency, no draft picks right now. I think first place is going to have like 12 wins, and last place is going to have 8. That's how tough I see this division. And I can't even tell you who's going to end up where, because after free agency, the money clears up. See, like the Bears spent most of their cap room this money. They don't have a lot to roll over, unlike what Detroit did. Detroit said, "Screw it, we've got a good core in place. We've got everything we need. If we got to save money to be able to sign people in case of this, that, or the other, right? We're rolling over $24 million on top of the $54 million we have." That's huge. I don't care what anybody
you'd be able
says.
to sign T. Higgins if you really need to.
And I don't think we need somebody like that. I don't think our receiving core is the problem.
But you wouldn't be complaining.
No.
I think the Lions need to spend every pick on defense, but that just means
King, regular season don't mean shit.
Winning 15 games did count for a lot. Don't get me wrong. It was great to see that. But at the same time, did it get us to the Super Bowl? Did it complete this goal that they said that they wanted from the owner down to the players? No. And it left a sour taste in everybody's mouth.
Can I copy those words for everyone that asked me? Oh, he's above 500.
Yeah, I know.
He didn't bring home a Super Bowl, did he? No, it's not a good coach.
He brought home just as many Super Bowls as Bill Cowher.
Bill Cowher went to more AFC Championship games.
But Super Bowls are what you're talking about. Let's be honest here.
I know.
Same amount of tenure, same amount of Super Bowl wins.
I get it, and then we probably would have been saying the same thing about Cowher if social media was like it was now.
Here's what's interesting about Tomlin and that whole thing. I think a lot of Steeler fans believe that the Rooneys won't fire him.
They're not.
And I just
Rooney
don't
rule.
think so. I just don't think that's true. I mean,
The
that's
Rooney rule, buddy. Unfortunately, the Rooney rule.
Unfortunately, guess what? They've already said they're not getting rid of him. But
well, I don't
have
think they're not
I
going to
do
get rid
have
of them this year,
Right.
but ever. I think is on the. I mean, you look at New England, you kind of would say the same thing up until this year. 20 years with the same coach, they're 2 for 2 in the last 2 off seasons.
I understand, but at the same time, I know for a fact, because I got it from somebody at the Pittsburgh Insider, that Art Rooney II did walk down to Tomlin's office and gave that little knock knock. And anytime he does that, he wants one of the coordinators or somebody fired. I think it's Terrell Austin.
Oh, by the way, 57 million people. Looks like 57 million people watched the UFC Championship game.
Oh, I have no doubt about it.
Oh, by the way, Adam,
he's not gonna. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Adam, you're gonna think I'm crazy with this trade proposal. How about
Tomlin's
this?
involved. Take it.
No. I think the Steelers need to trade this year's one, next year's one, T.J. Watt, and George Pickens for Shedeur Sanders.
Who?
I don't think the Steelers should run it back with Ross or Justin Fields. I think the Steelers need to be big, bold, and beautiful. They've got to. I think they trade T.J. Watt, George Pickens, 2 1s for Shedeur Sanders.
Congratulations, James. We'll talk to you later.
I think I haven't released my mock draft yet, but Milroe is down there in that Steelers range. Jalen Milroe from Alabama. I mean, I think that's kind of the route. I don't think there's anything else like this. So I take it you don't like Milroe. I'm starting to think. I'm starting to think maybe you're not a Milroe guy.
I'm not a single quarterback in this draft guy. That's where I'm at. I think they're all mid.
Why do people keep saying that?
Why do people keep saying that? What did Jaden Milroe do 2 times in a row versus Michigan? Looked like dog shit.
I'm not talking about Milroe. I'm not talking about him. But I'm like Cam Ward and Sanders.
Cam Ward is playing a pro-style offense. At either place, at Wazoo or at Miami, go look at it. It's more of a run and shoot thing. Nobody does that in the NFL hardly anymore. I think it doesn't fit in the NFL. I think it'll take him 2 years to adjust. Shedeur Sanders, he couldn't beat a top team while he was with Colorado, and I understand they had a mid team and what blah blah blah. I don't care. If you're that good, elevate your team. Same thing with Caleb Williams when he was at USC. What happened every time he faced a top 25 team?
You saw him just get pissed off on the bench. Seen him get pissed off on the bench, throw shit, put a towel over his head, cry like a little bitch.
Yeah.
I almost said something, but I'm not.
I think Shedeur and Caleb are a good comparison. I think they're like undercoached, honestly, both of them. They were so talented, they could kind of get away with some of the stuff they do. But I still think he's a first-round pick, top 15, top 20. I mean, I don't know where this stuff.
Unfortunately, he will be, but I don't think he's worth it.
Cam Ward's good.
I think
like
Eddie. But I think he needs
don't really
a
see
couple
it
years.
Cam
I don't see him coming out, and he should not play right away.
They're definitely
not as good as the guys. Can I get back to this wild trade of trading away the whole fucking team for Shedeur Sanders? I would shut that down in a minute. I wouldn't even that's ridiculous.
Why? The Steelers draft pass rush and wide receiver better than anybody. they need to go. The Steelers aren't going to win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. I mean, and
you still don't trade away why people. You still don't trade away T.J. Watt. Why people come to the game?
No. If you're the Steelers, I think this is the time to trade TJ Watt. They've got to get a quarterback, whether it be this year or next year. And the only way Pittsburgh's not going to be bad enough to get one of these quarterbacks, whether it be 2, 3, or 4, or good enough where they're in the Super Bowl. They're in that like 15 to 20.
No, if you'd really want to do that.
Okay. So let's change that subject because I think that's like one of those preposterous trades, like that guy on First Take said about what Detroit could do.
Good luck there. Good luck there, King, on the child support.
Yeah. BMD, that's always good. Baby mama drama. I understand. But that being said, hey Dylan, tell me about your coach and what is your ultimate vacation spot?
I'm just glad Liam Cohen won up Nick Sirianni with his press conference. I mean, Nick Sirianni's been to 2 Super Bowls. If Liam Cohen gets to 2 Super Bowls, I don't care what he sounds like.
Yeah, you'll get there as soon as you can trade away Trevor Lawrence.
Shut up! I'd rather have Trevor Lawrence than your quarterback.
Why wouldn't you want Shedeur Sanders on your team, Dylan?
Because Trevor's got a higher ceiling than Shedeur.
How does he have
So
a higher
why would I want that? Why would I want that on the Steelers then? If you just said his ceiling's not that high, because I don't have Trevor Lawrence's ceiling high at all.
So you're telling me after 4 years with 13,000 yards, 69 touchdowns, and 46 interceptions. So a guy that throws, what is that? 2-to-1? 2-to-1 ratio?
Oh.
Not even.
No, it's higher. It's a lot closer.
1.8 to 2.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is fascinating. I think he's very, very fascinating. He'll make the best throw I've seen
and then
have a great game, and then he'll miss the flat. He'll miss the 2. I mean, it's wild to see him. Kind of like what we just talked about. Shedeur and Caleb and Trevor is kind of the same. They were so good in college, and they're undisciplined. That's what I see a lot with Trevor Lawrence. Like, as good as he is, he's not. I'd love to see him like underneath a Bill Parcells or Andy Reid or somebody who would coach him up and get that stuff out of him.
I mean, to be honest with you,
but he's well coached.
I think part of Trevor's problem is he went to the wrong team. Pat Mahomes just happened to be with the greatest offensive coach the game's seen since Bill Walsh.
If Patty Mahomes went to Cleveland, I think he would have sucked.
If Patty Mahomes would have went to Cleveland, they'd have never traded for Deshaun Watson. They might have got to a Super Bowl final.
No.
It's still Cleveland, buddy.
What's even funnier with Cleveland is Evan keeps saying this and dude, stop being scared to take a quarterback. Every mock draft I'm seeing, they skip over. You got Deshaun Watson, for God's sake. Why aren't you you're picking second? I don't understand that. Why aren't you pulling the trigger? You don't even need to do what Dylan said, just a miraculous trade.
So let's see. Games did he play this year? That's what I want.
We probably are going to do our mock draft live, guys, just to let you know. So what we do for that is Rav, you'd be picking 28th right now, 26th, 27th.
I don't have mine pulled up yet here. But...
We're picking 28. I do know that.
All right. So Jeremy, I would count, depending on how many people were in the show, say there's 6, I would count up 6 spots, and then you would get that team's draft pick as well, and then 6 more, and then you would get that draft pick, and then 6 more, you would get that draft pick. That way.
Would it be every 7 because that way it breaks down, or you just because I have the last pick out of everybody in the show? That's where I'm going to go at 6.
Well, it runs. We draft the full first round. We do that for sure. Okay. So that's what, and then eventually, we get back around. But I just want to tell you that's how I do it because that's the only way it made any sense.
Yeah, Ravens. I have them right now 27.
Yeah,
I
they
pulled it up.
put
I
right
think
in front of. Wait a minute.
Yeah, my
Didn't they
team's
lose?
at 5.
Yeah, they lost in the same round as us. So yeah, they'll be.
But here's the
27
thing,
because they
like,
had less wins.
say Dylan or say my team was like a 6 spot, you would move up.
Right.
You would move up 1 because the Steelers are there.
Got
So,
it. Yeah, I got
like, so who's ever on the show doing the draft, wherever their team picks, if you're in that spot to go 6, they would pick, and then you would pick the team above. But I'll get it all figured out once we get closer.
You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah,
Even
absolutely.
though Daniel Jones has been in the league 2 years longer than Trevor Lawrence, listen to this. He's only played 10 more games because of injury, even though he's played 2 full seasons more. His yardage, 14,582. So he has a 1,300 more yards, 70 touchdowns, 1 more touchdown, 47 picks, 1 more pick, and an 84.3 QBR. Trevor Lawrence has an 85. So Trevor Lawrence
Who's got more rushing? Who's got more rushing yards?
Daniel Jones by 1,300 yards.
Remember, he would have another 20 if he didn't trip.
He tripped at the 10. He'd have had another 10. He'd have been in the end zone.
I thought it was a 20.
No, it was the 10. He started the ball at the 20, but he landed at the 10.
I mean, so Charles, I mean, to be honest with you, I have no idea what the Jags do at 5. I mean, I would love them to get Mason Graham or who's the Michigan corner, Will Johnson. But
oh wow, he's terrific.
Jalen
Well,
Dart
you
was
know what?
probably
I
the
don't
best
know
today
if
at
any
the
of the
Senior
Kenny
Bowl
corner-
and stuff.
I don't know if any corner is worth a top 5 pick. I defensive tackle, offensive tackle, quarterback, sometimes wide receivers. But when you start getting into the secondary and those skilled positions, they rarely ever go in the top 5.
I don't know. Jalen Ramsey went 5, and I think he was wolfing.
Yeah, I with all the
Yeah,
picks
that
you
one
got
year,
from the
that one
Rams
year
and
we
the
had
trade.
3 cornerbacks go in the top 15, didn't we? What was that? 20?
And none of them were in the top 5. None of them were in the top 5, though. They all were
Right.
like one went, I think, at 11, another one went at 13, and the other one went at 15.
Didn't
Is
one
that
go
the
at 8 to
Darrell
the
Reeves
Jets?
draft?
Wasn't that the Kyle Hamilton
Sauce
draft?
go?
Wasn't?
Was that Sauce that went 8?
Yeah, I think so. Wasn't that the Kyle Hamilton
But he
year?
wasn't in the top 5.
Yeah.
But he wasn't in the top 5. That's my point.
Okay, well,
I've never seen a corner go in the top 5 except maybe 3 times in NFL history. Charles Woodson being one of them.
Dion.
Dion was the other. There's only one other one, and you got to go way back.
Well, Jalen Ramsey went 5 and 17.
I don't count that because that's Jackson. Oh, sorry.
I don't know what the hell he's doing, but all
I
right.
don't know what he's doing either, but that was I made him rant.
Okay. Now somebody also asked me another question.
We did. Where's your vacation
your-
spot? And I'm not gonna say what I said backstage.
Australia.
Oh, I thought it was Trevor Lawrence's swimming pool.
No,
Are you gonna go play with? Are you gonna go play in the Great Barrier Reef?
Actually, not the Great Barrier Reef. I love koalas.
Oh, he's a teddy bear lover.
I don't know.
Somewhere where he can go running. I know that.
Oh, by the way, I'm running a 5K this weekend, boys.
There you go.
Nice.
Hey, good for you.
I don't know.
All right.
It's like,
I'll run 5K in a year's time.
Like, do you guys know any? I don't know what it is. I mean, I still like teddy bears and koalas just like I was when I was 8. I'm like, is it my autistic brain going 0 to 60 for bears? Like, I like bears like my women.
No, I think you just your feminine side because I know lots of women in their 30s that still have teddy bears.
Well, it is Valentine's Day right around the bend, boys. Remember, buy your bears.
I'm just playing.
Hey, I still
Hey,
like
this is it.
wrestling. I still like pro wrestling. Like when I was 8 too. So hey, man, some things we don't give up, even though we get.
Oh
crumbs.
gosh, are you talking about like Jeff Jarrett back in the day or Mick Foley?
Bret
Foley's
Hart,
still
man.
at-
I was a Bret Hart guy with the glass. Yeah, I was like with the pink jacket and the glasses. The Hitman, the Hart Foundation.
Or Jerry
The
the King
Legion
Lawler?
of Doom.
Dang.
the
Hawk
coolest
and
thing in my
Animal.
life that I got to do, and it's stupid. But I was
Did you get this?
working
Were you at the Jeremy? Just tell me you were at the Pontiac Silverdome and you got to see Hogan slam him.
Yes, I was there for that for WrestleMania
Really?
3. Yes, I was in the third level. I was one of the 108,000 people in attendance.
How
But at the
old
same-
are you?
I'm 54.
That was what WrestleMania 3, I think,
Yeah,
right?
because I was
Was.
like,
WrestleMania 3.
and I was like 10 years old when that was
Yeah, I
going on.
wasn't.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, these
21
two
and
weren't
watched
even
Barry.
born yet, yeah.
I was 21 when I watched Barry Sanders run all over the Dallas Cowboys defense in the wild card game. But to
What
be
was that? 84, 85?
what when Barry
WrestleMania?
Sanders didn't? Yeah,
Barry
WrestleMania
Sanders.
3, I believe that was
87, I think it was.
87, yeah. Because 1988 was the next biggest thing that hit the Pontiac Silverdome, and it had nothing to do with wrestling. It had to do with rock and roll. And that was the very first Monsters of Rock, super rock tour type thing, where there was 9 shows on stage, and I got to go to that the next year.
Was that when Kiss played that, right?
Nope, that wasn't Kiss. That was Van Halen, Scorpions, Ted Nugent, Kingdom Come, Deep Purple, and about 3
Tell me
other bands.
Cinderella or Great White.
Great White was there. Yep, WrestleMania 3, it was intense. That was 87. But,
Those are 80s. Those are 80s bands he just mentioned for the audience that they don't know that they're Dylan's
late
age.
80s, early 90s hair band. Oh, Metallica was a part of that too.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Warrant.
No, Warrant wasn't there. Warrant didn't come out until 91.
Skid Row.
Skid Row was there.
I mean, we could
Dirty
talk some fucking 80s music if you
Yeah.
wanted to.
But,
Dylan be lost. I mean, he probably doesn't even know too much. Dylan, you know a lot of 80 rock bands there, buddy? Or are you looking them up so you can join the conversation?
Metallica.
Yep.
Like,
Def
Ride the
Leppard.
lightning.
I know he knows the biggest star of the 80s, which was Michael Jackson. I think Michael
everyone
is,
knows who Michael Jackson was.
Michael
Thriller.
is, even now, you could take like all 3 of my daughters, you put a Michael Jackson song, they were dead now, all of them before he was born. I mean, he is the biggest. Everybody knows a Michael Jackson. I think Michael Jackson is more famous than Jesus Christ.
There's these 2 people in pop music that are more popular than anybody else. It's Michael Jackson and Prince. That's it. Everybody else
Here's the
way
funny thing.
behind
Rest
him.
his soul, but I was never a big Prince fan.
How about when
He
Prince?
just wasn't.
How about
I
when
just
Prince?
I liked songs if I heard them on the radio, but it wasn't enough for me to go out and get motivated to buy the records and stuff. It
Prince
just
wasn't for everybody.
No.
Prince wasn't. I
No.
hear some people say that they Prince. Andre the Giant was weighing in at a swelt 520 pounds.
How big was
Yeah,
Big
I love
Show?
that one. So, anyways, what I
Big
was
Show
trying to say
is-
is in 2010, I was an working guy. I used to do the service for the northern parts of Michigan. And in the small town of Hale, Michigan, I used to take care of this guy. And he used to be Ben Lawless in the WWF back in the day. You guys have ever heard of that name from in the 70s?
What was his name?
Ben Lawless.
I don't know him.
Well, anyway, his real name is Larry, and he owned this nice little ranch on a road that he had paved himself, and it was called the Ponderosa Trail. And so I took care of his organ service. So I got to talk to him for hours once a month doing his service, and it was cool because he always said, "You come to my house at 5:00, and that's your last stop of the day. Then you don't have to worry about it." He goes. And I don't care if you stay here all night with me. I'll tell them you were working. Just because
Some
it was
people
just
just
him.
like to relive
It
it,
was-
man.
Well, it was just him. It was his wife. His kids all lived out of state and rarely came around except at Christmas time. So it was just having somebody there. He would feed me. And he literally would tip me $100 a day that I went there. You know what I mean? And so it was something that became a ritual during that 6-month span when I was a part-time guy, a seasonal worker. And it was really cool to do that because every now and then people would pop in. I got to meet Me Gene.
I mean, Gene Okerlund.
Yes. Jimmy the Heart. Mouth of the South.
I actually had Ric Flair's autograph when autograph session in my apartment, my first apartment, a long time ago. I had the Nature Boy, and I actually got to meet him down there. There was so many people down there in downtown. There was a lot of wrestling in Baltimore when I was coming up. Like Baltimore was WWE was the end of the North, and it was the beginning of the South. So we were the place where we got to see. We were one of the few cities at the time. It's hard to believe nowadays, streaming and everything. Well, we got to see everybody. Like, well, a lot of places, if you lived in New York or if you lived down there, you couldn't see. But you got to Baltimore, and that's kind of where they both came. So that was very cool.
See, and that was when they first started hardcore matches in that late 60s, early 70s to draw in the crowds. And they didn't know how to fake a chair hit. So when they hit somebody with the chair and you heard that loud thud and you seen somebody just get laid out in the ring back in the early videos that you see, they really did get laid the fuck out.
Oh. The Samoan don't have the Samoans in there. Oh man.
It was bad. It was bad, man. So
that was
back in the early days, the only thing they did that was fake was they made themselves bleed. Because what they did was they bought the cheapest chairs they could. So all it would do is knock you out and not split you open. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Because back then, getting knocked out was nothing. That was getting your bell rung. It was like hitting your head too hard in high school football. Get back in there. You just got your bell rung. Take it off. Nowadays, are you okay?
Kind of like football.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the same thing.
Kind of like.
Hey guys,
But I get it. Okay.
Hey guys, nobody put Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni in like the best categories. Like Jalen Hurts would never be in the Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen category. Nick Sirianni, best coach category. But the Eagles just win. Now, is it because Harry Roseman's like the best drafted maneuvering GM? Like, how did he get Saquon, Zach Bond, the 2 rookie corners, and Vic Fangio? But yet the Eagles keep on winning. So
at the same time, you know why they got Saquon Barkley is because the Giants GM was an idiot. That's it.
And yet New York kept him.
I know.
I mean, he even admitted that he was our most popular player. He even admitted it. He should have listened to his kid and went out and got Jaden Daniels.
They extended Daniel Jones and refused to give money to Saquon Barkley
because he didn't want to fall into that category of paying the running back, like Jamie always says.
Right. And the Eagles are in the Super Bowl.
Should have paid the running back.
Let's go back to last
would
season.
Have Saquon been that good in New York without what he has in Philly? I don't even know if Saquon would have stayed in New York. Actually,
he may have, but you don't know. It does have a lot to do with the Daniel Jones thing. But let's look at Barkley. If he got close to that any time in his career there. Closest he got was 2022 when they went 9-8, and he was the bigger reason they won those games because he had 1,312 yards and 10 touchdowns. Now, even though he had 2,005 yards this year, you know what else he didn't have a lot of was touchdowns. For that many yards, you would think he'd have more than 13 touchdowns, correct?
No, we got the brotherly love push.
I know, but he does have 48 touchdowns in his career, and that is impressive. Especially on 1, 2, 3 years, he played less than 8 games.
I don't know why people keep saying Sirianni's a moron. I kind of like him with you, Dylan, in that sense. I mean, he's winning an awful lot for a guy that's supposed to be just the stupidest guy in the world. He's got great talent, for sure.
You would have to ask the Philly fans that, and the ones I have. This is what they say. Because no matter
Where's
how
Joey?
big a lead
Where's
is,
Joey where's Joey when we need him?
he hasn't been in the chat, or I'd have sent him a link already. So that's what
He
I was
has
waiting
he
for.
has the link. He has the link.
I know, I emailed it to him. But I'm
Right.
saying I would have emailed him another one, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Just to make sure he knows it's current. But I haven't seen him in the chat. But
me
at the
neither.
same
But this
time,
would be a good time to
like
have him on.
Dean Walczak and Mike Fujimoto, two great Philly fan podcasters that I know. One works for God, I can't even remember the name of their podcast because it's been that long since I had them on. But they both
Which
said
one?
the same thing when they're watching Walczak and Mike Fujimoto. I've had them both on at one time on my show.
I don't know them. I
On
don't
my
know
show.
that podcast.
Well, anyways, they both said the same thing when they're watching a Philadelphia game. No matter what the lead is, they never feel like the lead is safe. This past weekend was the first time they felt the lead was safe because we're like even the refs couldn't screw it up.
I mean, they put Kenny Pickett in the game too. they put Shipley in, and no one was ready for that wrecking ball.
Well, no, Will Shipley looked like the next second coming of Saquon Barkley in that game.
Sure as hell did. I mean,
it's kind of the same thing with like Mike McCarthy. Like for a guy who wins as much as McCarthy has, and the Cowboys weren't any good this year, but like he gets a lot of grief to me for a guy who's been successful as he's been. You know, they kind of Baltimore example, like Brian Billick was kind of the same. Like despite all the winning, it's still, and it seems like some guys like Brian Daboll hasn't done a thing. You know, I ever hear he's a good coach. Kyle Shanahan, he's winning more recently, but it took him about 3 years to get a winning seat. So I'm not just so convinced that he's so stupid. I mean,
but I want to push back about paying the running back here. 2023-24 season. What did the San Francisco 49ers do? Made Christian McCaffrey the highest paid running back in the league, right?
and he took the stupid cover of.
Where did they go? Wait, where did they go that year though? They went all the way to the Super Bowl, right? And lost to the Chiefs. Saquon Barkley gets paid only a little bit more than what the Giants were offering. They said it was a difference of like less than $1 million, but the tax difference is the big difference.
I'm guessing Shipley went to Weddington High School. Is that what Broski's saying?
Yeah, I think that's what grew up watching Christian McCaffrey.
Jeremy, did you have any Bears guys on last night?
I didn't even go on last night.
Oh, I was going to say, I guess they cleared the air with Kurtz, and now that's gonna be their line coach.
Yep,
Kurtz,
and that's what he's saying. Yeah, Shipley's from that Charlotte, North Carolina.
I mean, Jared, I think the not paying the running back thing is going to go away now. I mean, if you can't see what Saquon's doing and what Derrick Henry's doing, and even Green Bay with Josh Jacobs, I mean, if you can't, the line, yeah, exactly. So if you can't figure out that this is I don't know what to tell teams.
So here's my question: did this all start because the Steelers didn't sign Le'Veon Bell?
That was Le'Veon Bell not taking his franchise tag that year is what was the icing on the cake for running back. Because at that time, if you remember, they talked about it. If he'd have took the franchise tag that year, he'd have got $16 million. Because he
wasn't enough to feed his family, he said.
Yeah. And then because he sat out that year, and he ended up signing with the
Jets to make them all fat Alberts. Holy cow.
$6 million a year, which cost him essentially another $10 million. They said that was a $26 million cost to him overall. Can't afford to feed your family now, motherfucker. That's what everybody said.
Right.
I was praying, like, I don't know what, that the Ravens would sign Le'Veon Bell when all that was going on. We love Le'Veon Bell around.
Didn't Le'Veon come to Baltimore and play for a little bit?
Well, yeah, at the very end, he played. But I'm talking about during that time. I was really hoping that the Ravens would get in there.
If he'd have signed his tag, the Steelers could have traded him. This is the thing. He didn't sign his tag, so he couldn't be traded. He just went off and started traveling the world.
Started
Remember, he went
rapping,
to-
started boxing, started doing all kind of dumb shit.
I'm agree with you. I think that's kind of the first one I remember where that era kind of like they got to like, okay, we're not doing this. We're not giving running backs a whole lot of money.
Right after
Which
that,
I always thought
that was when it
that
started.
was silly.
But at the same time, your most successful teams in the NFL, what are they able to do well?
Run the football.
Run the football. And even though, you know, the Steelers haven't had the best they wanted as fans, and I get that. I'm not poo-pooing that. What's the one thing they've still been able to do every year? Run the football.
I don't know how many yards we had. Let me look.
Not as a team. I'm talking about your individuals do well. Like Najee, didn't he break 1,000 yards again?
He better break 1,000 yards in
He had
17
1,000.
games.
I don't know exactly.
Adam,
I know it was
Hey Adam, I'm sorry to bring this up, but do you know what game took place on this day 29 years ago?
It was the Super Bowl.
Which one?
The one with the Steelers versus the Cowboys.
Was this Larry Brown and Neil O'Donnell's big moments to throw the ball to each other a couple times?
Yeah. When
And-
Cowher cost the team 15 yards because he swung at Larry Brown by stepping on the field.
Kind of like what Tomlin should have got ejected when he tried to trip Jacoby Jones.
The late Jacoby Jones.
Yes.
You want to talk about somebody who made a lot of money that day? It was Larry Brown.
Yes,
he
he
was-
did.
Yes, he did.
He was
He was
he was
never
going to
good
the
after that year.
bench.
Kind of
In
like Butler
Dallas.
did. Kind of like Butler did too on the big interception.
You know
How
who got
about-
paid a lot of money for shutting down one great wide receiver in his career?
How about this? Larry Brown and Desmond Howell both signed big free agent deals with the Oakland Raiders, and both sucked.
Okay, but
Oh yeah.
who was the one cornerback in the league that got paid a shit ton of money because he could shut down one guy? Thank you, broski. Have a good night. It was Peanut Tillman for how he shut down
Night,
Calvin
broski.
Johnson. You ask Calvin Johnson who was his thorn in his side as a defensive back, and he'll tell you Peanut Tillman 3 times before he mentions another name.
So this is, I don't know if you guys read this or not, but the Cowboys are trying to move in on Najee Harris
What?
I think
with
that's
a
a great
big
move.
with a big contract. Jason, log in, brother.
Cowboys need a running back.
They do.
I don't think there's any question about it.
But
I mean, thank God Zeke left.
Where'd he go? Where'd he go?
the Cowboys need to draft a running back. This is the best running back draft I've seen in a long time.
Oh,
I know. I
think
know.
it's-
I
think
don't
it's
know
very,
Brian.
I think it's very top heavy, but I
I
think
think-
it weans out real quick when you get to the day 2 guys. I think it's a very
Yeah,
top heavy running back draft, but hardly anybody's going to take them in that first round because they're scared. You know, think
No.
about it.
I don't know Brian Schottenheimer. I know his dad would take
What
a
do you have,
running back.
Scatterbo?
Marty Schottenheimer definitely would do it.
Scatterboo definitely moved up the ranks, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm telling you
Um,
right now, I don't think Ashton Janty gets past Denver. Either the Cowboys or Broncos take him.
That's that
I think.
Chinese
Yeah, I'd
song,
be shocked
Low
if he
Ding.
didn't go in the top 15.
He's doing that ancient Chinese song, Low Ding. That's what happens when you use Cricket Wireless. I say
It's
that
fam-
every day.
Do 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 do.
It's family bonding time.
Yeah. It's okay, Jason.
With
I
us,
don't know if you can hear
we're
us.
the family, bitch.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Football fans, we are kind of like a family. You got your in-laws, you got your outlaws, and then you got the people you go, what the fuck? Oh, yep, look, couldn't load.
Jason, you there?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Well,
I can
now
hear
we
you.
can.
Yeah, we can hear you.
It's no video, huh?
Fantastic.
Yeah, hold on
I
a second.
saw
I'm
you the
still,
first time. I don't know what happened.
still working on the video. Hold on a second.
Yep, that's
So, do you guys? Is this a good landing spot for Najee Harris?
No.
For Dallas,
I think it's a great landing spot for both. I think Brian Schottenheimer, being an offensive-minded coach, he needs a running back that can help whoever's the quarterback, whether it's Dak or not. I think it has to be Dak because of the dead cap implications. So, because of the dead cap implications, yes, I think it'll help him with this play action game. Because guess what? He is a top 10 play action quarterback when he has a good running back. Guess what? He didn't have a good running back. He had
Rico was all right.
He had the AARP room of
Rico was all right.
Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook, and then Rico Dowdell, who was a nobody and not doing anything to start the season before Dak got hurt. Go look at it. Go look at his yard. It was.
I had him on my fantasy team.
Yeah, he got good later in the season after Dak was gone. Right. Is what I'm getting at.
There's Jay.
But I'm saying up until that point,
buddy.
Up until that point,
see now we all got to dress like Jay and Dylan. They got collars on. So Rab got a call. Oh man, I'm feeling well out of place here.
No, I'm happy with my bacon neck.
Well, that's what happens when you live. That's what happens when you live when it's nice and warm.
Well, right now it's currently 51 degrees outside where I live, guys.
It's in the 30s here in Michigan, so it actually warmed up here today.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Sorry, I'm so late, guys.
That's all right. Okay. Did your daughter do good for softball?
Yeah, it was just practice and conditioning today. They don't play any games until mid-February, so just practice today.
Must be nice. I think we still have snow on all our fields. And what are we eating tonight, Jay? Why not? We're just butting in on you.
Salad and broccoli pesto pasta. Yummy.
Nice. Yummy.
Nope.
So Jay, what's going on in the sporting world out your way?
Well, I'm taking my fair shot of black eyes for being a Dodgers fan for obvious reasons.
Oh wait, you should be
gloating. You should be gloating in this.
I am in a way. I'm also having a good time looking at all of the mock drafts for the Packers that are coming out within the last couple of days because Green Bay is going to be in a unique situation here to have another really solid deep draft. So I'm looking at all the mock drafts that are flying out there right now and having fun with all that.
Who do you want the Packers to draft, Jason?
Well, honestly, Dylan, I haven't had a chance to sit back and look at. I mean, I know what their needs are, but I haven't had a chance to sit back and ascertain the best players that would be available for them right now. I would like them to draft another wide receiver because Christian Watson, I think they need to move on from him.
He just can't. T. Higgins, Jay?
Oh boy, I would love for them to go after T. Higgins.
You got cap room, right?
Yeah, we have cap room. I think we have roughly about 40 to 45 million in cap space that we can free up or that we have available to sign a guy like T. Higgins. And I think he would be a great addition to that offense. And he would give them the veteran playmaking receiver that could complement Jaden Reed, that could complement Romeo Doubs. He would be wonderful in that offense, and I think he would fit in well with the fan base there, with the offense. Matt LaFleur would
Lambeau Leap. You're saying, Jay, he would be very welcome up there.
Oh, I would love it. I'd love to see T. Higgins do the Lambeau Leap. I think he would make Dorsey Levens do head spins with all the Lambeau leaps he could do. So. Yeah. Hey, if Green Bay can pull it off and make it work within the salary cap, I'm all for it. Do it. Even if that means having to give up second-round picks, third-round picks in the next 3 or 4 drafts to Cincinnati. T. Higgins is one of those. He's not a once-in-a-generation talent.
Isn't he a free agent?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking, guys. I'm sorry.
Right? T. Higgins is like the top free agent this year, right?
Yeah, he is. He's the top free agent available at the wide receiver position. I'm sorry, my bad. So, yeah. If they can bring him in and sign him to a deal that still works within their salary cap, both in the short term and the long term, then yeah, I'm all for it. Bring him in, make it happen, Brian Gutekunst.
That's unpacker like. I don't know. That's like they generally don't do stuff like that.
I don't know.
You're right, Rev.
McKinney and Josh Jacobs.
Whoa, one at a time, boys. What were you saying, Dylan?
Brad, you're absolutely right. That's not the Packers' MO. They traditionally don't do that. But I think, given the fact that they have this great nucleus of young talent, and we saw what they can do when they're at their best, and given the fact that they have Josh Jacobs there, I think this is time for Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst to think outside that proverbial box. At least for one time, take a chance and get a guy like T. Higgins. Or do you want
In
to?
fact, Christian Watson can barely walk and not get hurt.
Yeah, and I feel bad. I'm sorry, Jeremy. What?
I know. I've been trying to ask for a minute. What's the name of that kid that we signed that you were talking about for the Tigers?
What's the name of who?
You said we signed somebody you wanted to talk to me about. I wanted to look him up so I'd know who you're talking about. You said the Detroit Tigers signed somebody.
Oh yeah, you guys signed that.
I need his name. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah,
Alex
hold on.
Cobb?
I'm looking it up here.
So yeah, as I was saying, as much as it pains me to say we need to move on from Christian Watson, he has a lot of talent, but like you said, Adam, he's injured all the time. He can't stay on the football field. And yeah, injuries are a part of football. They happen to everybody, but for Watson, it doesn't do the team any good when he's only going to play 4 to 5 games a season. So, and Higgins, I remember when Green Bay went after Reggie White, and there were all of these discussions about whether or not back in the day they should have gone after Reggie White. Do you want to take a chance going after a veteran, the minister of defense? Are his best days behind him? Did he leave all his best days in Philadelphia? Well, suffice to say, we know what happened when they got Reggie White. He still had enough left in the tank, became an MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, led the Packers to another Super Bowl. And while T. Higgins at his position is not on the level that Reggie White was at his position, we saw what happened when they brought in one player to make that one difference. And I think if they were to do that with T. Higgins, with his talent, he could make that one big difference. He could be that one difference maker that Packer offense needs to go from good to great. The other young guys we have at the other skill positions, I'm all for it. Think outside that box. Make it happen, Gutekunst. Make it happen, Matt LaFleur. Do something that you don't normally do as a franchise. Take a chance. If it works out, we're having a fantastic conversation about it. If it doesn't and it flops, oh well, it didn't work out. You move on to the next. So, yeah, T. Higgins in Green Bay, I'd love to see him in Green Bay. That'd be a great addition.
I think that might have been Reggie White might have been the greatest free agent acquisition in the history of the NFL. I think either that or Drew Brees to the Saints.
Well, and I was also going to say Charles Haley to the Cowboys as well, because when Charles Haley signed with the Cowboys, boy, we saw what he did.
Chris Rodriguez.
That defense. So you're right, Rev. But you're right. I mean, if you look at the top 5 Rev free agent acquisitions of all time, Reggie White is easily top 5 acquisition of all time, if not the best of all time.
Did you hear me, Jeremy?
What's that?
Chris Rodriguez.
Chris Rodriguez?
16-year-old, $3 million. Has the same swing as Alex Rodriguez. He looks good. I mean, for a 16-year-old, he looks like he can hit the shit out of the ball.
Dylan, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't remember what I was going to say now.
Well, then forget you. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, by the way, the Dodgers got Kirby Yates tonight. Oh, boy.
Is that official?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it's official.
Wait, what happened?
They got
The Dodgers signed Kirby Yates.
Kirby Yates.
I'm trying to see this guy, and I'm not finding anything about him anywhere.
The Dodgers will have to end up moving a whole bunch of guys to the 60-day IL to make room for him on the roster and trade a couple guys. But yeah, they signed him. It's official.
Jason, you know how I feel about this with the Dodgers. Look, baseball, quit crying about how you don't have any money and start signing these players. Why is one team's making all these offers? That's crazy.
Well, here's the thing,
I mean, that doesn't make any. Come on, guys. I mean, you're getting $69 million a year from Fox. You're getting money. The lower tier teams are getting money from the luxury tax because teams like the Dodgers are spending. You're getting like 40, 50 million, I would say, at least in the local TV media revenue. and you're sitting there crying about quit. I mean, come on, quit crybaby. Stop with the stuff where you don't have money.
Yeah, and the Dodgers negotiated their own multi-billion-dollar TV package that earns them an additional $2 to $3 billion over the next 10 years. So they're getting revenue off of their own media TV contract. They have their own media deal, just like the Yankees have their own specific type of media deal. Also, I'm going to say this as well. I've always been in favor of a salary cap in Major League Baseball. As an opinionated, objective fan, I've always been in favor of a salary cap. But what the Dodgers are doing is legal. It's part of what was built into the current collective bargaining agreement that the owners and the players agreed to a few years ago. The big stink and why the Dodgers are getting a lot of flack primarily is because of all the deferred money, which means that you pay the players the bulk of their contracts at a later time. A lot of teams don't like the fact that LA is deferring a lot of money and a lot of these contracts for guys like Shohei, for guys like, well, Sasaki isn't a deferred contract. They got him on a $6 million international free agent signing. But still, what LA is doing is legal. It's within the rules per the current CBA. And now we're starting to hear rumors flying around that what the Dodgers are doing could force the owners to lock out the players in 2026. I'm like, Rev, how hypocritical can you be? Why would the owners lock the players out because what the Dodgers are doing is within the boundaries of the CBA? That is pure hypocrisy, man. And it's like, if you didn't want the Dodgers to have that ability to sign these players to these types of contracts, you shouldn't have included the language in the CBA in the first place. And every team, from the Dodgers to the Giants to the Orioles to the Pirates to the Tigers to the Marlins to the Reds, have the same ability to sign those types of contracts for players that the Dodgers do. The only problem is LA is the only team that's doing it. Okay, are they cornering the market on free agents? Yes, they are. But they're cornering the market because they want to build a dynasty here. And they
want to win.
Yeah, they want to win. And you can't.
No one else does.
David Rubenstein, the Orioles owner, he just bought the team, is worth, $50 billion. Just stop. Just stop with the stuff where you need a salary cap and you need this and you need that and you need that's insanity. You have resources there where you can go ahead and the Dodgers don't have to sign. They're not. Other teams are not.
I'll be right back.
That's got to be what. Yeah. There's no way. There's no way three closers are signing on one team. Like if they had other offers.
Right.
All right. Well, I'm not going to rant on that, but it's like it's just people keep saying that. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Jeremy, what were you going to say?
So I just wanted to talk about this kid, Chris Rodriguez. He's the number 4 international prospect in all of baseball right now, and that's pretty good. He's 6'4", 200 pounds, and 17 years old because he just had a birthday. But according to his stats that are listed, he has his power is off the charts. He has a hit of 50 for rating. His power is rated 70. His run is rated 50. His arm is rated 60. His fielding is 45 overall, and his overall is a 60 overall. So you're talking about a kid that's going to come out at 17 years old and play for Detroit here in Lakeland coming up shortly. And he's an outfielder. So, and it's something we need. We need somebody with some consistency and some pop. And according to what it says, he has a great front leg drive, which gives him a raw power. And once he fills into his frame, it will equal right field power. So he'll be a player that can probably hit to all 3 fields.
If you're not bringing in these young international players nowadays, you can forget it in baseball. The Orioles could ignore it for you. You gotta, if you're not bringing in these 16, we got one, Sam Basayo, who is like awesome. 20 years old, perfect swing, gonna push Adley Rutschman's foot. If you're not doing that, you're gonna be left behind. Right. These Latin players are outstanding. A lot of playing the game like literally their whole life, starting them at 15, 16 years old. You're really left behind with that.
Yep, and Miguel Garcia, the guy that is our Tigers Latin America scout, guess who he's known for pulling out of Dominican Republic? You got to go back a ways. It was one Miguel Cabrera.
I was just gonna say Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, that worked out.
Yeah. So the fact that this guy followed Miguel here to be our talent scout here, because Miguel actually took a role as an assistant in the front office, so he's still a part of the Tigers organization now that he's retired.
Is Miguel in the Hall of Fame?
No,
Nope.
yes, it takes 5 years before you can get in the Hall of Fame, and I think he will get in. If
Yeah.
it's first, if it's not first year, he'll get in second year.
It hasn't been 5 years for him yet?
No, he's only been
He's only-
retired for 3, I think.
This is
is
the
two?
second year. This is the
Yeah.
second year coming.
I thought
up.
it was longer than that.
Nope.
When he gets in, he'll be a first ballot. He won't be unanimous, but I think
Right.
he'll. And the reason I say he won't be unanimous is because a few years ago, he got linked with steroids talk, and we all know how the writers feel about that topic. But regardless, he'll get in on the first ballot. He won't be unanimous. He'll probably get maybe 91, 92% of the vote, but he'll get in on that first ballot. There's no doubt about that.
If Ichiro's not unanimous, there is no unanimous.
You know,
I
gotta
mean,
tell
that's
you,
just, I don't even know what to tell you.
I don't have an East Coast bias, but I'm willing to bet that some East Coast knucklehead like Bob Ryan or Mike Lupica was the one jerk that didn't tally that last unanimous vote, because
They never
I don't
announced
know.
who that was, did they?
No. And there's actually been a lot of debate about whether or not the writers should have their Hall of Fame votes publicized because of it. Because, I mean, you know, when you think about it, they're journalists, allegedly, and journalists serve the public interest. And so if you're going to be voting for players to get into the Hall of Fame, shouldn't your vote be, you know, splashed out there for everybody to see? I mean, you have some guys now that are shouting it out to the heavens, like Tom Verducci and Ken Rosenthal. They always announce their votes every year, but still, we don't know who votes for who. It's still very private and locked up in a nice little box. So, you know, it makes for an interesting argument.
I had no problem with the Hall picks this year. I think they finally got one right. I thought Sabathia is definitely worthy. Billy Wagner was definitely worthy. I think he should have been in. I think the only thing with Wagner, he wasn't a postseason player as well. You got your guy there, Hurricane Dave Parker, got in along with Dick Allen. I got no problem with
Anyone who says the Cobra, Dave Parker, doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame needs to go back and seriously look at his body of work. You're talking about a guy who had a cannon for an arm in the outfield. You're talking about one of the most imposing clutch power hitters of his era. You're talking about a guy who won a World Series with the Pirates in '79, who won World Series with the A's in '89 or in 1990. You're talking about a guy who, at the peak of his prime, was one of the top 5, maybe top 10 players in the game. So yeah, the Cobra definitely deserves to be in there. I know there's some argument too about Dick Allen being in there, but when you factor in that Dick Allen had a higher OPS than Carl Yastrzemski and who else was I just heard? And Carl Yastrzemski and I think Willie Mays combined over a 4-year period. I mean, that's got to say something. And I never saw Dick Allen play. All I know about Dick Allen is what I've read in the books and everything. But talking to my dad, who saw Dick Allen play, he said when you wanted a guy up there to get a clutch hit with bottom of the ninth, 2 on, 2 outs, Dick Allen was the guy you wanted up there because chances were better than average. He was going to either smack it out of the yard or he was going to lace it down the line for an opposite field hit that would clear the bases. So I agree with you, Reb. I think they got the players who were in, they got it right. Every one of those guys deserves to be in.
I was surprised Parker wasn't already in.
Right.
I was actually surprised that it took this long to actually go ahead and get him in as good as he was.
I have a question for you guys. Now that he's
Go ahead.
dead posthumously, does Pete Rose get in on his first ballot where the Veterans Board could just vote him in?
No.
As a player, yes.
As a player, they could. I'm just saying this is the first year they could
As a player, yes.
because
as a
they
coach,
said it
that's a
was
whole
a
nother ballgame.
lifetime as a lifetime ban. That's
He's
the only
dead.
reason why, and now he's dead. That is why this is the loophole where if the writers that want to put him in as a player can put him in, this is the year they can do it.
Well, here's another loophole, Jeremy. Remember, Pete Rose signed the lifetime ban. He agreed to sign the ban that banned him from baseball for life. Now that he's passed away, unfortunately, when these arguments arise again, if
Right.
by some chance he does get in, he's going to have that lifetime ban from his side lifted somehow. So who signs that? Who signs away off on that on his side?
Well, no, he's dead, so he can't. His life is over.
The lifetime ban is done.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The lifetime ban is done because he's dead. Once you sign that lifetime ban, it expires when you do.
Well, as a player, I still think there are a lot of veterans that feel very heavily about what he did, rightfully so. It'll still be tough for him to get in, but eventually, posthumously, he will get in.
I don't think he should get in.
Well,
I wouldn't vote for
Here's
Pete
why
Rose.
I say he will, because guess who had a lifetime ban from getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame because of gambling?
I'm sorry, who was that?
There was a player, along with another one. It was a Lions player and a Green Bay Packer back in the 60s that got busted for their own gambling ring that they ran out of a bar that they owned together just north of Chicago. That was Alex Karras, and he got in posthumously.
That's right. Go back.
Webster's dad there, Alex Karras.
Dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the best role he ever had was Mongo in Blazing Saddles.
Right.
Alex Karras, Pete Rose bet on baseball games while he was the manager of the Reds.
But
That's
not as
bad.
a player. It was never proven as a player.
A manager's
I'm
almost
not-
worse.
And he bet on his team to win.
Well, I don't care. I mean, you're involved in the lineup and all that other stuff. It's sad because he's such a great hitter. It really is, because he's
But
he
as
was
a player,
serviceable.
100%, he deserves to be in, is what I'm getting at. And that's why I think he will get in as a player. I don't think they'll ever put anything in his management thing into the Hall of Fame. I think if he gets a
Do you
bust
think he
in the
got
Hall
bored
of
and
Fame,
that's why he bet it? Do you think he got bored as a manager and that's why he
I
decided
think he
to bet?
did. I think he did. And they tried to prove that he bet against his team, and he never did. He never shaved points. He never did any of that. So as far as that's concerned, I understand why he was upset that he got the ban, but he deserved the ban. Okay? I mean, I'm admitting he deserved a ban while he was alive, but now that he's dead, the things he did as a player, no one's ever beat. And it's been decades.
You're not going to get any argument from me that this guy was the best hitter, contact hitter ever. No question.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue that at all.
And off of those numbers alone, that belongs in the Hall of Fame. That's what I was getting at.
I think he gets in as a player, but as a coach, no.
Right, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Posthumously, he'll get in as a player.
Oh, by the way, breaking news literally in the last 15 minutes, Mike McCarthy will not be Saints head coach. Kellen Moore is probably the leader in the clubhouse.
Mike McCarthy even looked at that salary cap and said, nah, fuck this.
That's what Aaron Glenn told him.
I know.
You
Aaron
guys-
Glenn
For the same reason.
like I said, Eric Glenn went there at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, this past week, before he took that job. And he did the interview with the Saints. And he went in that front office and he looked at the book and he goes, 60 million over. Looks at the next year, 40 million over. Looks at the next year, already 30 million over, and they haven't even restructured anything from this year. That means they're 5 years out from having any money to do anything significant in free agency.
This has
And he
been
said,
going on for the last 6-7 years.
No, it's been ever since Drew Brees retired.
That's been about 6-7 years. I mean, Breeze has been gone. I mean, this is insane. Why the fans aren't more mad in New Orleans? Any coach for sure is not going to want to take that job. And you're stuck with Carr. You're stuck with Kamara. That's why they were signing some of these guys, because there's nothing else they can do. They got to roll with some of the guys.
They got to sign them, restructure them, spread that money out, kick it down the road is what I'm saying. It'll be 5 years from now because they keep having to do it. Remember when this started right after Drew Brees retired and they decided, oh, you can keep your bonus? His bonus became dead cap. That's what killed him. $90 million right off the rip. Boom.
Isn't that about how much the Browns are on the hook for Deshaun Watson? $60 or $90 million?
But they keep restructuring him, and now that there's video, Deshaun Watson may have fucked himself out, and it's only going to cost him $1.
Oh yeah,
You saw the video, right?
yeah, I saw it.
It's
Not
I
only
good.
haven't
8
seen
weeks. It's only 8 weeks after his ACL surgery or Achilles or whatever it was, and he's supposed to be wearing a walking boot until week 12.
Oh.
That is right in there. He violated his own contract because he was dancing with some hot-looking white chick in the back of his vehicle outside Miami with no boot on. And all of a sudden, 2 days later, he's got to have surgery again.
Well, when you dance on that floor, Jeremy, with a reconstructed ACL, it's going to put a lot of pressure on that. Although he injured the one that wasn't injured before, am I correct? Did he re-injure the previous injury?
He re-injured the previous injury and has to have it
Okay.
redone again. And that is
there
where
you go.
they're saying that they may be able to get off the hook and let him go for $1.
No, they won't. I mean, the Broncos are still on the hook for most of Russell Wilson's contract.
No.
That ain't going to happen.
There's a clause because of the injury thing. If you don't follow injury protocol, and there's a video of him doing it,
Okay. Well,
that they
if that's
can
the
let him
case,
go, and it's only $1. So he may not be at the ground.
nice.
They're going to be in court for years with that, Jeremy.
Yeah.
If they try to pull that.
I know. In the NFL, lawyers will make sure he don't get paid.
I don't even know what to say about Deshaun. I don't think I've ever seen a guy who was a Pro Bowl level guy, as good as he was, just fall completely into the Atlantic Ocean like that. Just
Well, I think if Houston didn't release that information, he never would have been investigated, and it never would have been an issue. And the reason why they released it is because he wanted out. Because up until that time, he was a top 5 to top 10 quarterback every year in his contract.
yeah.
But
He made
sat
Brandon
for a year.
Cooks.
He sat for a year. Then he comes back, has to be suspended for another 11 games. That's a year and a half without one down of football being played.
When I saw him at Clemson, I thought he was a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson was. I mean, he totally outplayed him when they played Louisville. Clemson was a good team. He just good start, and he just it's just astounding.
I must say this, Charles. I saw Deshaun and Baker play the 2015 in Winterville, and I'm like, Deshaun Watson's going to be a Hall of Famer.
And he was on that track. But with Houston, I still think something's going to happen to them ownership-wise. I think something's going to come out unless they're sold. Because how does all that information get released when they paid for the masseuses?
Yeah, they tried to lower his value or tried to make sure that he couldn't make too much of a fuss about it or whatever. That's exactly what they were paying him for a year, and he wasn't hurt.
Right?
They just didn't play him with all the money he was getting. They just didn't. We're not going to pay you.
Do you think they knew what was going on?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you have a guy that you draft to be the future of your franchise, and you pay all that money to, how do you not know what he's doing? I mean, how do you go up to him if you're a coach? How do you not go up if you're the head coach of the Houston Texans? How do you not go up to Deshaun Watson and say, "So Deshaun, how are things going, man? Did you study that playbook? Can you let me know about the first 10 plays we're going to run in the shotgun pistol formation or something like that?" Yeah, so Adam, they had to know, and
Kind of like Jamarcus Russell.
Well, and I was just going to say
when they gave him all the blank tapes.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I watched all them blitz packages."
Yeah, right. Well, the two other Rev, you said you couldn't remember earlier of a quarterback with that much talent that fell off the table so soon.
Right now.
Jamarcus Russell, I can remember, is one of them. Vince Young is another one, but I'm going to go back even earlier. A guy that I can remember who came out with so much hype from college is a guy that the Indianapolis Colts took with the #1 pick via a trade, and his name is Jeff George. Now, the difference with Jeff George is that he had a late career renaissance when he went from the Falcons to the Raiders. And he was able to at least resuscitate his career and make it manageable. But the point being is that Jeff George had such a lousy attitude on such a bad football team. Nobody else wanted him until the Falcons took a chance on him. The Raiders took a chance on him. And he finally buckled down and made something of his career. That's the big difference between him and Russell and Young. With Vince Young and Jamarcus Russell, just as much talent. But up here, both of those guys, they didn't apply themselves.
Got
Primarily
another
because
name. Got another name like that with all that hype that was just as bad once he got to the pros. Ryan Leaf.
Well, and Vince Young's main problem was that he was coddled when he was at the University of Texas. So he was a
You
mental
say Ryan
cupcake.
Leaf.
I did say Ryan Leaf. Look at all
That's
the
who
hype
Rich
he had
com-
coming out.
That's who Rich compares Caleb Williams to all the time.
Oh,
That's a little harsh.
Hey, by the
That's
way,
a little-
by the way, Jason, didn't Caleb Williams beat you sorry butts in week 18?
Yes, Caleb Williams beat my sorry butts in week 18. Thank you for the reminder, Dylan. I appreciate it. By
You
the
know
way,
what?
Texas have anything to play
by
for?
reminding us of that, you know what really sucks, Dylan? Is right now in 2025, the Chicago Bears are the only undefeated team in the North.
oh. And since we're pouring salt
Well,
on my wound,
but the Lions won week 18 against the Vikings.
Yeah, but we lost after that, is what I'm saying. So we still have a loss in 2025, whereas the Bears don't.
Well, actually, the Bears lost because
that's a stretch there, brother. That's a Beacham yoga stretch right there, brother.
It is. But
I
it's
think
true.
the quarterbacks, I think like Watson, those are some good examples.
Yeah.
George was actually decent quarterback.
like I
for
said,
stretch. Was decent quarterback. Some of those other guys were decent. Leaf never was any good. He was
Right.
bad from the beginning.
I
Like,
know,
he
but
was.
I'm saying
But
he brought up people that struggled early because they didn't have it up here when he was talking about it, that were struggling early. And I'm saying Ryan Leaf went into a bad situation. Look at the team he went to. They were coached poorly. They didn't have a lot of talent on the team at the time. And he was as soft mentally as the girders of the World Trade Center after 9/11.
leave me alone. Don't talk to me.
Right.
Look, that would have been. I think about that all the time. How big of a miss that would have been if the Colts had taken Ryan Leaf instead of Peyton Manning.
And
That
they
would have
about
been
Remember,
historic.
that was a debate that we heard about. There
Yeah,
was a
we
debate
were talking.
Indy about that.
Well,
But Deshaun Watson was a good quarterback, unlike a lot of those guys. I mean, he was an all-pro, not an all-pro, but maybe like a Pro Bowl level guy, and
Right.
he went completely off the. That's wild. That's just was bad.
I think the mental stress of all the cases it was done that year while he was out, and then the suspension on top of that, not being able to play that season. I just think it was too much for him mentally to overcome. And you know what he became? He became Jameis Winston pre-LASIK surgery.
Do you think Watson wanted to play in Cleveland?
No, I don't think he did at all. I think that was just the only place he could go. And Dylan felt out of work again.
Classic Dylan.
He turned Cleveland down.
The first time.
If you remember that, he turned Cleveland down. I think he was going to sign with Atlanta, I think it was, or between Atlanta. And then Cleveland came back with a bigger offer. That's where the guaranteed offer came in. And he took it.
It also was the draft compensation. Atlanta wasn't offering anything close to Cleveland. So all it took for Cleveland to do is change the contract. There were, Houston wanted to deal with Cleveland. They did not want Atlanta's deal because they weren't offering as much. And at the time, Atlanta was a better team.
So I just, that's astounding. Like Deshaun is just not, I've never seen anything like that. Like that's crazy.
yeah. No.
It's awful. Anyway. Yeah, that was like my biggest question too. Did he actually want to go to Cleveland and play, or did he just go there for the money and know there's still going to be a lot of shit going on? And now he found a loophole out of it by not wearing a boot and breaking his leg again.
I don't
He's made enough money to never play football again.
I don't think they wanted him to play. I don't think they were pretty much done with him. I'm not even sure. I'm not going to go too conspiracy theory if he's even hurt or whatever. I don't know that, but that happens. And when a team is kind of done with you, sometimes these injuries pop up and this and they were I was pretty sure that he's not ever going to play again with Cleveland. That was going to be the result anyway. He's not going to play anymore. I don't know legally how much they owe him and all that other stuff, but they're not going to play him anymore. He's not going to play.
What's weird is he had 2 years left on his contract, and they restructured him and extended out the other 3 years, and it was all void years, not added to. It was just void years to move money to clear cap. And
Yeah,
they restructured him again when the other legal stuff came up at the end of the off season. Remember that, the other one that came up, and you know what that restructure put in there? That's what put the injury clause, and it also put a legality clause. If either thing happens, if he doesn't follow his rehab regimen to a T, or if he gets in trouble with the law again, that's an indictment, a charge, whatever. They can give him a $1 salary and cut him with no dead cap. That's in the new contract.
We definitely fucked that up.
So then to see that video where he's dancing with a girl with no boot on, 2 or 3 weeks prior to when he's supposed to be able to take it off, and a day or two later, hey, I need surgery again. When he goes in for his checkup, that's not a good look. I'm sorry, I don't care what it is.
I agree.
So yes, Deshaun Watson has probably played his last down as a Cleveland Brown.
I'm looking at this draft stuff, and I'm like, there's a lot of teams need a quarterback. And there's such a small few. I mean, there's about 10 teams, I think, that could really use an upgrade at quarterback. I mean, at least 10.
Of them.
There's
one of them.
You got Lamar, you got Josh Allen, Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and I'll put Jaden Daniels in that category as well. I'll put him as the fifth one.
And I don't care what anybody says. That's also in the other 5 that I say that don't need to be replaced yet, and that's just because they've got the regular season stats to back it up lately. Jared Goff, Dak Prescott. I mean, those are 2 that you got to throw in there. Because Dak Prescott, when he's healthy, he's been pretty damn good.
Kenny Pickett has more NFC Championship titles than Dak Prescott.
That's okay.
Anyway.
He's still on Kenny Pickett. Goff and Prescott, and they're tier 2. They're like, right. I think, like, if you the Lions would trade Goff if you could get Lamar or somebody on that first section. I think they would definitely do that.
No, there was actually talks about that this last offseason before we gave him his extension, and before Lamar Jackson signed his, and there was talks of that trade then, and Brad Holmes talked it down. I don't think they're taking that trade. You don't understand. Brad Holmes scouted Jared Goff. He picked him in LA for a reason.
I think Goff is good in that tier, but Hurts is there as well. Stafford, that next group, and then you got another group, the young guys, Caleb, May.
Caleb and May are the bottom of that group. It's Bo Nix and Michael Penix above both of them.
Yeah.
Drake May's a Pro Bowler.
When? Oh yeah, this year because of alternates.
So that's.
Yeah, he was named a replacement today.
I mean, but you got Steelers looking for a quarterback, Browns looking for a quarterback, Titans looking for a quarterback.
As far as alternate news for the Lions, I know that Amon-Ra Brown and Penei Sewell are out of the Pro Bowl, but they both got all-pro nods this year too, so they don't care about the Pro Bowl. But they're dealing with minor injuries, so Taylor Decker is the first alternate at tackle, and he comes in to replace Penei Sewell. And Malik Neighbors, the rookie from the Giants, gets to be the alternate for the wide receiver.
The Pro Bowl is a joke anyway. I mean,
it is.
As far as
the skills competition is better football to watch.
What are they playing? Flag football now?
Yeah, I know.
It's just
What
a
the-
watered down version of the NFL Combine. It's the NFL Combine Redux, is what it is. Because they're
Right.
like playing tag and they're jumping and they're leaping and everything and shit. They're
Right.
bowling and shit.
They're running obstacle courses.
Yeah,
I-
obstacle courses.
I love the obstacle course. I love the tug of war. I want them to bring back the old quarterback accuracy skills challenge. I want them to bring back the old who has the strongest arm in the NFL.
Throwing the Brett Favre, the Cordell Stewart, the Drew Bledsoe in
Yeah.
Orlando. That was a good one. What was it? 76 yards by Favre or something?
Yeah, 76 by Favre. I think Cordell Stewart hit 72. Matt Stafford hit 71 or 73. I mean, they were all right there. It was
Right.
amazing that year. And Drew Brees hit 69.
Jeremy, are you one of these guys that wants to see quarterbacks throw like 40 footballs in the middle of a 50-foot tire just to see like how many footballs they can shoot through a tire in like 2 minutes or less?
No, I like the moving target accuracy thing they did last year where the targets are moving and they have to hit it.
Oh, okay.
And you've got them at different tiers. You got like a guy in the flat, then you got a guy coming across in the slant, then you got a post route, and then you got the one that's worth all the points in the end zone that's hard to hit.
Do you guys watch the Pro Bowl?
I don't watch the Pro Bowl itself. I just watch the skills competition.
I
I haven't watched the Pro Bowl since Sean Taylor lit up that guy on the punt return.
Oh, right? No kidding. Boom.
That was the last Pro Bowl I watched.
The only thing I remember about the Pro Bowl is when Peyton Manning like aired out Vanderjack on the sideline when he was talking about calling him an idiot. Why is this
Like
idiot
drunken kicker.
Yeah, that idiot kicker. That's
Drunken
about.
Kicker got liquored up before the game.
was
Mike
funny.
Vanderjerk.
Why don't we
I
talk
remember
about
Vanderjack.
Why don't we talk about the guy that picked up the ball and got tackled by a shoelace by a quarterback?
Right?
Just saying that was the key tackle.
I don't think I've ever done much with the Pro Bowl. I can't remember ever watching the Pro Bowl or having that much. In the NBA, I used to like the All-Star game a lot. And baseball,
now-
absolutely, I did.
Right.
But
And now,
I don't
for
know.
me-
Spud Webb did the Spud Webb dunk contest.
Yes.
Dominique Wilkins, MJ,
Larry
Who was-
Bird
who was the
3-point
shark?
contest.
Nate Robinson, when he was with the Giants going into the dunk contest. I loved it when the short guys could do crazy.
I think you picked my favorite one there, Hurricane. The Spud Webb was the one. You talk all you want about Michael Jordan. That was the coolest thing I ever saw. Watch Spud Webb, who's literally 5'. It's a
5'7".
liar. He's 5'7". He wasn't. He just blew it up in that start.
I remember back in the day when a 5'3" guard who played for the Charlotte Hornets by the name of Muggsy Bogues,
Muggsy Bogues.
Yes.
one big leap, did that little granny slam dunk from behind. And
Yep.
boy, man, I'd never seen a 5'3" midget like Muggsy Bogues dunk a ball like that. Everybody, hoo-wee!
And it was cool that he did it in a game. You know what I'm saying? When they do it in a game, when those short guys do it in a game format, I love it more. Doing it when nothing's around and doing a stunt that you rehearsed, that's different. And I think it's funny when there are the short guys that can jump and they just can't do it when they're in that big spotlight where they're the only one on the court and they fail.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I grew up a huge Lakers fan, still am, and I still remember one time at a game. I think it wasn't an All-Star game, but I remember when 7'1" Vlade Divac failed to slam dunk a basketball. He tried to go full Daryl Dawkins windmill jam, and the ball smacked off the back base of the rim, and it went down half court. And was like, Vlade, you're 7'1". How do you not slam that in there, buddy? What happened? I don't know. I lost control of the ball, I guess. Whatever.
Well, guys,
Whatever.
it's been a long day. Thank you
Right.
for having me on again. Check me out, Kneecap Fighting with the Motor City Lions on YouTube. That's at Smoking Jeremy B1 on Twitter and Instagram. Have a great night, everybody.
Alrighty.
Yep. Good talking with you, Jeremy. Have a
Jeremy,
good one.
thank you for stopping by, buddy. You know you're welcome every Tuesday.
I'll be
You
back.
got the link. You
I'll
got the
be
link.
back.
You can just click on whatever.
Sam Darnold tried to act like Arnold Schwarzenegger until week 18 all year long with the Minnesota Vikings. Grab my hand, I'll get you to the job.
Don't be a girly man, Sam. Don't be a girly man. Take 3 years and $30 million. Don't be
Now
a
he's
girly
got to go
man.
hang out with Hans and Franz and learn how to pump it up.
Do it! Do it now! Do it now!
It's not a tumor. Have a good one, guys.
All right.
Hey, Jeremy.
Bye.
I could be there in about 20 minutes.
Alrighty, boys. We got more to talk about, or we want to call it a night?
Let's say we call it a night. It's pretty late for you guys over there on the East Coast.
Heard the doctor's results.
All right, Rab, how people get you, buddy?
All right, so definitely check us out at raverysports.company.site if you want Orioles hats and merchandise along with the jerseys as well. So definitely you could go ahead and check us out. This week on our podcast Wednesday, we're going to be talking about Terps this week, who got shafted out of the top 25, which was garbage, complete garbage as well. Top third baseman in the MLB. We're going to talk about that this week as well, and Orioles new additions along with Ravens free agency as well. So it's Rivalry Sports YouTube page. Check that out.
Nice. All right, Jay, the guy.
Yeah. Well, hey, I keep it short and simple. You're just going to find me on X. You're going to find me at Dodger Jason there. So feel free to go ahead, interact with me, tell me I'm a butthead. Keep throwing all the insults at me because I'm a Dodgers fan. I can take it. But anyway, love being part of the show. Love talking sports with you guys. It's great that we can get on here and opine about things that we mutually love. So always indebted to you, Adam, for letting me be on the show. Rev, it's been fun talking with you since I've known you. Yeah, looking forward to more chats in the future here.
Absolutely. Hey, you can get us at Driver to the Top Productions on YouTube. You can get me at Sports Talking It on Twitter. Get me on Twitter. It's the easiest. Hey, yeah. I don't know. It's been a long show. Hey, it's been fun, guys. Thank you for coming on. We do this every Tuesday. Me and Rich will be going tomorrow. I'm not sure where this conversation is going to go tomorrow. I'm sure it's going to be on Pittsburgh. And everybody have a good evening.
You too.